everybody, it's the interview queen, Alicia Toot here, and you are currently listening to and obviously enjoying Queen's Court.
Hi, I'm the Asian sensation Kanji. You're listening to Queen's Court.
Hi guys, this is the Queen of Queens Visage talking, and I am so happy to introduce you to the Queen's Court.
Welcome to this week's episode of Queen's Court with your girl, the Queen of NE, and we're here to talk NXT TakeOver Portland. All grown up NXT is on its own night, solo on a Sunday evening. No other pay-per-views, all by itself. I feel like the training wheels have come off. I'm really excited for it, but I'm not alone. As advertised on Twitter earlier this week, I have the man, the myth, the legend. Fowl Original is here in the castle. I'm so honored to have you on the show. Welcome, Fowl.
Well, thank you, Queen. I mean, people can't see, but I'm curtsying right now. I don't curtsy that often, but I didn't want my train to go everywhere. But thank you so much for having me and having me in the castle. Like, you know what? Yeah, it's a kick-ass castle.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We try over here at Queen Productions, to have a nice little place for us to hang out and talk some wrestling. So,
I love the drawbridge on the way in. That was amazing.
Isn't that fun? You have to have a nice big drawbridge. You have to have an awesome moat. Because if not, do you even castle? Like, you don't.
See, that's the thing. If I don't see at least 4 knights outside, then I can't spend a night in that castle.
You're not well protected?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Fowl, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you wanted to chat with me, and you agreed to chat with me. Thank goodness. Because there's a lot to break down from this show. There's a lot to talk about. So firstly, different day for NXT, as I mentioned. Did you like that it's on Sundays when there's no other WWE program going on, or do you miss that it was on a Saturday?
So, being from the UK,
right.
Just as like a selfish thing, I hated it being on Sunday, like because
sure.
it ruined my whole week. But like, I like it being on a Saturday night, because it has that kind of big feel to the whole weekend. You have like the NXT, you've got like the big pay-per-view, and then other promotions will put stuff in between. But I do like it. It kind of took me back to the old 2.5 hour Sunday night pay-per-views. And so, you know what? Having that length of show on a Sunday, I was cool with it.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting. It made me feel like WWE thought that it was a bigger deal. Because that's their big money night. All of their pay-per-views are on Sunday nights. That's how they roll. So, at least within recent years, right? So... very interesting. I actually kind of liked it. I missed a little of the Saturday for the same reason as you. It's nice. It gives you like, oh, I have this event happening. It's like the whole weekend because Sunday, you're getting ready for Monday and so, and then you have to stay up late. But what's nice about NXT is that it's not the 7-hour pay-per-view events. That's what makes them so nice.
They're concise, aren't they? They're concise. The one thing that I had to say from last night, and I say it like every time, is the shows flow so well. Like you don't ever feel a point in the night when you're like for example, as I said, like I do the watch-alongs, so I don't got pee break. Like there's no pee break in an NXT show. Like I'm trying to find the time to nip out, and I can't because it's just action the whole way through, and it doesn't take me away from it. Like I feel invested the whole way through.
Yeah, I think that's what's really special about the environment of NXT. Being in the crowd, even watching on your screen, it's hard-hitting all of the time. There's not a lot of muss or fuss. They don't have a lot of backstage segments going on. And their video packages are, like you said, concise. It's quick. Here's what happened. Here's why we're fighting. And now we're going to fight. Boom, boom, boom. And you don't want to miss anything, I feel like. Because it's... You don't have your piss break match like you were mentioning. I always can count on Bobby Lashley to, like, come on the screen, and then I can go use the restroom, get a snack, refill my water. Can't do that in NXT. I'll miss someone jumping off something.
I know, and it's like, or I'll miss like a tiny nuance of something. Like there's been so many times when, like for example, Mauro Ranallo will say something hilarious on commentary, and then that'll be the second I'm not paying attention, and it will get memed everywhere. There's just so much to be thankful for when you watch an NXT show, like a short pre-show and everything. Just bam, 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 bam.
I totally agree with you. And this one I felt was one of the most, it's weird to say, one of the most stacked takeovers, because I feel like they're all stacked, but the big fight feel that each of these matches had on their own, never mind putting them all together on the same show, I feel like was paramount here. So going into to TakeOver, did you have anything that you had your eye on that you were like, oh, this is maybe my match of the night, this may be the one that I'm most interested in, or I'm looking forward to?
Well, just like yourself on Twitter, I put some predictions out. And obviously, you put them in podcast form as well. But I put mine out, and I got 6 for 6. Very happy about that. The matches, I saw what you were doing. I saw you on Twitter as well. You were like 5 for 5 at one point, and I was like, gotta do it. I was like, I'm gonna come on this show with 100%.
Got it.
Yeah, the one match that I was really excited for, and it delivered, was Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic. That match, like before the match, I was like, that's two big old beefy boys that are gonna beat the crap out of each other. And then when they did, like just the start, like obviously we'll talk about this later, but that was the one match that I was really excited for, and it delivered like massively. Every match had something there for me, but that was the one that I was really, really excited for.
Oh, same. If you've ever had the chance to watch, anybody who's listening, of course, to watch their match, PWG from 2017 on the Indies, holy jeez. These guys tear the house down every time they face each other. So, like, going into it, and we'll just dive right in because it's the opening match. Like, how do you open your takeover with this? How are you going to live up to that afterwards, Val? I was like, wait a minute. We're starting with Keith Lee? I can't.
And not just that, but Keith Lee starts off and, like, you know, you've got these two guys, and what you normally see in, like, you know, a big hoss fight, you see the two guys, you know, like squaring off, maybe a little bit of fighting outside. No, we start off with Keith Lee pulling a goddamn Hurricane Rana in the middle of the ring. Like, what is life? Like, what was going on? I was just like, what is this? And like, that's like one of the first moves of the match. If all you wanted to do was find out what these two guys could do, like that was there. Like that was just one of the highlights of that match. And goddamn, like the whole match reminded me of like over the last year, I'd watched my first G1, the New Japan, and match, like I know it's Val's first G1, and I looked and I was like, oh my god, this match is like Tomohiro Ishii going up against like Shingo Takagi. It's just two guys that want to beat the shit out of each. Wait a second, like beat the poop out of each other. Rules, but they wanted to beat the crap out of each other so much, and they did it. And like there were just certain like sequences, like the top rope Spanish fly. To get in the match. I was like, I saw them getting up there, and I was like, they're not gonna really. Oh my god, they are. And just so much in that match. But yeah, two big old beefy boys just locking heads.
Yeah, this is when I see a big hoss fight. This is what I want out of my big hoss fight. These guys can move. They have great in-ring chemistry. Like you mentioned, the amazing Hurricane Rana just to kick off this show just gives you the taste of like what you're about to get into. The crowd was behind this match. All of us watching at home were behind this match. Twitter was going nuts. I just remember seeing that corkscrew that Dijakovic did off the top rope, and I was like, did that just happen? I rewound just so I could watch it again. Just so I could enjoy it.
I was like, I felt like I was watching a match from the X Division in TNA, and I was like, oh shit, he just pulled out a spiral tap out of nowhere. Like the size of those guys, yeah. Like as a large and in charge individual myself, like I specifically used to look at Samoa Joe as my like inspirational figure for like, well, he can do it. I'm now looking at Keith Lee, and I'm like, but have you seen Keith Lee though? And like Dijakovic just kept up. Dijakovic kept up with him the whole time. Like the one thing that I have to say from that match is people don't realize how big both of those men are, because when you look at Dijakovic, he looks a little bit smaller than Keith Lee, but Keith Lee's already massive enough as it is. I think the first time that I understood like the size differential was when Keith Lee faced off against Brock Lesnar at the Rumble, and I was like, oh my god, he's massive. Like he's not just a big guy, and he's got abs. Keith Lee has abs. Have you seen? Like
Keith Lee has everything. Keith Lee has everything. He's got charisma. He's got mic ability. He's got in-ring ability. He looks so good with that North American strap, does he not?
It's like made for him.
Yeah, it is like it's made for him. It looks perfect, and the Bask in His Glory thing is so catchy. You know, and that's not to take anything away from Dijakovic. I think he's really, really damn awesome. He's very, very talented. But this match was an absolute banger to open up the pay-per-view, and I was like, great, so we could just be done, right? Like, I'm good. I don't even think I want to see anything else. Like, I could just turn this off and be super satisfied with my subscription to the network today. You know, that was worth the $9.99 a month.
I got my $9.99 right now, right here.
I know. Geez. This, I think, I think this was my match of the night. How about for you?
Definitely, like, it was one of two of my matches of the night. And I will say the one later, but yeah, this was like, it's one of those matches where if you just wanted to show someone what NXT was all about, and like how to maybe change their perception of what wrestling could be, and like you could just show them this one match, like just this one match, and say this is what happens in wrestling now, and I'm sure that you'd like convert like so many people to it, because it was really special. Like, it was really special.
It was really special. Really brilliant way to kick off this show, and I love their hug at the end. Just the amount of respect they have for one another, I think, is another thing you don't see enough of, and it's really cool.
As I say, going back to that, there's a point in the match here, actually at the beginning of the match, and I remember catching this when like Keith Lee comes out and he's holding up his title, and he has that smile, doesn't he? That kind of like, oh, we're gonna have fun smile, and he looks at Dijakovic just as he walks along, and he just smiles at him the whole way along and just follows him along. I remember just going, oh my god, these guys are gonna kill it. Like, this is before the match has even started. And you're right, it's that charisma. Oh yeah, like, it's just special, and Keith Lee is gonna be the best ever Universal Champion of all time. You can see it. Like, he is going to just make that title his own. Can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see it either. He's got big things in his future. NXT is just the beginning. North American title, just the beginning. And it's hard for me like to say that I want him to do other things, because I love him in NXT. And I want to see him do so many other things here. But I feel like if anybody's made for a big stage, if anybody's made for a WrestleMania moment, it's Keith Lee. You know, he's just got it.
My God. Keith Lee, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Lesnar goes for the the shooting star press again. Keith Lee counters with a freaking spiral tap. Like, that's all we need to see. That would be the end of life. I don't think anyone could ever do a better WrestleMania match than that of all time. Like, that's
we'll retire. That's it. Thank you so much. Our swan song. We're out.
Exactly. We're done. Nothing could ever top this ever again.
I know, right? Absolutely crazy. And, you know, you got to feel for whoever has to follow this. But we went from one absolute murder fest trying to kill each other. That chair spot, by the way, was absolutely insane.
Oh, damn.
There's so many things that we could talk about just from this one match. We could do like a whole podcast just on it. I can't.
I know. There were just so many things that I saw in this match I've never seen before. Like, you know, there's sometimes when you look at like how the WWE can approach certain like things, so like the death match. Like, obviously you're a big death match fan, yeah?
I am.
We've seen the version that Kenny Omega would do on AEW, and that was, obviously I'm not massively like I don't know that much about the deathmatch scene other than things that I've seen, but that felt like a really good representation of how far you could go in a mainstream company. And like, And the WWE can't really do that because you got to stop and put your gloves on when someone has the little boo-boo. So, like, seeing how they worked around that, oh my God. That's why this is my second match of the night, because, like, my God. Like, they were just killing each other. But
what can you say?
yeah. Absolutely. Like, I really appreciate being able to see their interpretation of so many different matches, especially in NXT, because it's the way that the booking happens. You can see that there are like nods, like there was a very specific thing I remember seeing go all over Twitter, which was when Rhea Ripley did like the fake punch thing, the Dark Order punch, and I was watching it and I was like, that was not an accident.
No.
That was definitely 1,000,000% not an accident.
Oh yes.
It's like rewarding us. It's rewarding us as wrestling fans that watch so much of everything else. So to be able to see something like that, and obviously as well at the moment, Fowl is a massive fan of like the heel ladies, and Dakota Kai being heel Dakota Kai. Yeah, it's like now I'm angry because you're doing bad things, but you're still Dakota Kai. But everything that Tegan Nox did as well, like in this, oh God,
I know.
Like,
it was wild. So how do you go from the Keith Lee Dijakovic craziness to a street fight, Tegan Nox, Dakota Kai? I am also team Dakota Kai all the way.
Team kick every day.
All day, every day. I really, really love her. And, someone was talking to me, and I'm curious about your perspective. She had such a kind of short little stint in NXT before she got so hurt and was gone for such a long time. And someone said to me, she hasn't really been around that much, but, like, the impression that she made on the fans of NXT is so strong that when she came back and, like, and then obviously now the heel turn, just the level of how much she and even Tegan is beloved in NXT was kind of crazy to them. So I was curious about what you thought about that part.
It's really interesting because, like, Dakota Kai, she's like a natural babyface.
Mm-hmm.
She's natural. She gets the crowd going. Like, she's really, really enthusiastic, and she has a great look. And like, so it just all fits together perfectly. I think the major thing is that she has because of that, people were waiting for her to do something. And it's really unfortunate that she got injured as many times as she did, and in the way and for the length of time that she did, because she kind of missed out on the building of the women's division in NXT. She missed out on stuff like that 4-way where we had like Io Shirai going up, for the first episode of NXT. She missed out on so much of that. So I can see how people would say she's not been around. The way that she came back and the way that she turned heel, I think that was perfect because it just gave you that snapshot. Like, and as a fan as well, she can say the same thing. Well, I've been here. I was a big deal, and now you don't care because I got injured. You obviously don't and no one cares about me. Fine. In this match, I'm gonna screw you all. And even like the screw job in the War Games match was done perfectly, because you kind of like, what I really like about NXT, and something that later on happened as well, is the shades of grey. Like, you can see things from Dakota Kai's point of view, and you can understand, which is always a well-written villain, but you can understand where she's coming from. And unlike where Bayley's thing is, where she kind of goes, oh, you all like abandoned me and whatever, which doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
Dakota's makes a lot of sense. Because just as you've said, like, she's made the impression, but people are like, who is she? Where is she? What's she doing? And I felt like she was going to be one of those big faces that they were going to push on NXT when it went to USA. So just a shame. It's just a shame, really.
I know. But you know what is not a shame? Mm-hmm. This heel. She has just embraced this role like so well. And you mentioned it. That heel turn was perfect. It was well timed. The nastiness and the level of nastiness of it. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. And when you're going after your former best friend, bitter rivals, best friends. It's a good thing. My friend Chris said that on my little prediction show yesterday when we did it, or yesterday would be Sunday. Everybody's listening now. Of course, it's Wednesday, but he said it. Best friends make better rivals, man.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Every single time. And like, that's what I always love about these storylines as well, because you also get to see because they know each other so well, you get to see those really, really smart transitions and those really, really smart sequences that NXT are renowned for. And you see those sequences where it's like, oh my God, they know each other so well that what are they going to do next? Like, what can they do next? Which is, I think, something that really happens. And yeah, like the way that heel turn went down and the way that she has played it, like where it's, well, it's not my fault. I'm just going to be hardcore now. I'm just going to start beating people up now. That's just how it is. Like, no one miss nice Dakota, and it works so well. But it also works with, like, obviously a lot of people probably familiar, but Tegan Nox is like a major deathmatch wrestler over here in the UK as well.
Yeah.
So I was watching that match going, oh my God, you've got two people in there that are just going to take it to the limit as far as they can go, and maybe try to get over that edge a little bit as well.
They're going to try it. Homegirl pulled out those chains, and I was like, oh, she's comfortable. She feels good right now. You know, you can tell. She's like, all right, let's go. Pulls them all out, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go. And then she did the Molly go round too. On top of that, Fowl, like, this was crazy.
Even the starting, like the trash can. The trash can,
yes.
Like, what the hell was that? I'm watching, and I was like, so who actually got hurt here? I was like, did Dakota just throw the trash can at her? Did she just like lean up? No, for some reason Tegan Nox decided that she was just going to try and kill herself at the beginning of the match. Like, that weird senton.
It was a really fun street fight for these two. Yeah. I was definitely invested in their storyline, of course. And I was interested in what they were doing. I loved the tape. Mm-hmm. Tape Tegan's wrist to the little turnbuckle there. Love that. I think the only thing that made me not like this match was the ending, Fowl. I gotta be honest. Yeah. I don't mind run-ins. I don't mind, people coming in to screw up a match with somebody. You're right, because if it's done right, you can really fuel that feud forward, right? So, like, it's not really that. I think it's the lack of knowledge as to who this person is, the lack of understanding, the really kind of crappy table spot kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. That didn't look right. I was a little nervous for that. And it just was very confusing. I know she was in the Mae Young Classic, of course, Raquel Gonzalez. They changed her name. I know, but it just seemed so odd for this particular feud. And I totally hear the argument, by the way, that let's let things play out. Let's see what they're going to do with it. And that's not really the thing that I have the issue with. Like, I'm all for that. Let's see what they're going to do before we make judgments, if it's good or bad. I just don't think I like the way that they ended this, particularly as they built towards it. So I'm just very curious to what you thought about that.
What I've taken away from that, and I totally agree, is the confusion. Like, it was confusing. Like, it was really confusing because some people thought that it was like Shayna Baszler. Someone said like people were like, we don't know who this is. That didn't help. And also after the table spot, like, I thought the table spot, looked dangerous, but I always in my mind had this kind of, whatever happens tonight, Dakota Kai's winning, and I got that right, my prediction. Dakota Kai's winning, same. But it will be obviously, but it will be shenanigans, But I thought it was obviously to keep the feud going, and I thought Dakota Kai was going to do something which was going to be, maybe she'd take advantage of Tegan, and Tegan's like, because she's really angry and she does something, she makes a mistake, Dakota picks up and she's like, got you. But instead, like, Raquel turns up, and then I didn't know who she was. I remember watching, I was like, is that Ivelisse? I don't know. I don't really know any of the tall ladies. I was
looked like Sonya Deville, didn't it?
Yes, a lot of people. A lot of people are like, is that Sonya Deville? I think that was very similar to the Dominic Cain Velasquez situation.
Sure.
It's like, is Dominic up there on the ramp? He's shaved his head. Why? No, that's Cain Velasquez. Like, I think that it was very similar, and I particularly didn't like that ending, because then even like Dakota Kai, like, the confusion just seemed to like go all around. Dakota Kai looks at her and is a bit like, who are you? She's like,
Yes.
I got yeah. And she's like, all right, let's go to the back then. Like, it was just very like, at least if maybe she'd been a bit like, I don't need your help, who the hell are you? And then just left. But it's almost like, I understand. Like, I understand that is a perfect, what's going to happen on NXT next week? That is a perfect, like,
Sure.
we've got Dakota Kai and she's going to let us know what happened. Or maybe they let it sit for a few more weeks. And you have that enforcer role. But it would have made more logical sense to have Dakota Kai at least know who the hell this person is first.
Yes.
Because that also kind of goes against, like, the women's division paying any attention to the Mae Young Classic. Because in theory, wouldn't they be like, oh, yes, if commentary know, they'd be like, oh, yeah, I know you from, like, when we were, like, in a tournament together at one point. Like, but that didn't really seem to happen. And I think it was a lot of confusion. I liked the match. I wasn't a big fan of the ending, but at the same time, it keeps them both strong. Like, you know, especially if Dakota didn't want the help. Tegan can say that she tried everything she could. She got chokeslammed, didn't she, through that table? Mm-hmm. So there's some, like, continuation of the story there as well. Like, you know, between her, like, I can see them having a match in a few weeks and maybe build up towards TakeOver. But I think it's hard to start a feud like that with a street fight, though. And I think that's where maybe it was a bit...
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I also feel the same way about, like, Hell in a Cell in that way. If you're going to do that, then that should be towards the end of your massive blood feud. That's how I feel about it. Because it's, you know, you're going to take it to the streets. You're going to throw down. Like, you're going to, for the ladies, I'm going to take my hoops out. I'm going to put my hair back. And we're going to throw down. Right? If it's more of a normal, regular fight, I don't really have to do that. So it just, I don't know. It was very strange. And, like, where do they go from here? And who is this person? But you're right. It really was the confusion piece on Dakota's face that was like, well, now I really don't like it. I didn't like it before, but now, like, I really don't like it.
You know what? Like, this is something that happened later on, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. But what they should probably do then is just put a big picture up on the screen with their name on it now, because that's what they seem to do for everything else with all the crowds do it. Oh, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this later, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just really weird.
I don't know, buddy. I don't know. It was okay. Well, moving on. I guess.
Yep. Swiftly moving on.
Swiftly moving on from that. Now we get one of my favorite people. Well, actually, two of my favorite people, but one more so than the other. This match, the Prince has returned, honey. He is back in full effect versus Johnny Wrestling. Good golly, Miss Molly. The abs on these humans. You look at the screen and you're like, but how? Like, what do you eat? I don't understand. Like, it's not a single fat molecule on you. I like, how?
It's not just that. It's times like that I look at my screen, like my TV screen, and I realize that, like, I'm never gonna look like that.
Yes, same. I'm like, oh.
It's like it's not just abs. It's abs on abs on abs. Yeah, with, like, nothing. Like, and there is no, and then the best part is that it's like there's the 6-pack, then there's the 8-pack, then there's the 12-pack, and then there's Finn Balor. Like, there's just there's like a scale. Yeah, and he's at the top of that scale. Like, but funnily enough, on that scale, Keith Lee's also on that scale because he also has abs. How does he have abs? But yes,
he does.
Yes. Yeah. I do agree. Like, and I love the fact that he comes out as Prince now. Like, he's so happy. He's so happy. I can feel. Right? Yeah. Like, he is so. You can tell how happy he is as well. Like, he is just like, I don't care. Like, bearing in mind that he spent most of the time on a main roster, like, you know, throwing his junk into our face. He's happy to do it now, like, for real. Like, I'm cool with it. Like, it's amazing. I feel like I need to get, like, an atomizer to spritz you. I don't know if
I need the fan. # get the fan. I can't with him. Mr. Queen knows, so it's all right. But listen, I love Prince Balor. You know, in New Japan, that's who he was, sort of. It's a very different version, you know, because it's not New Japan, it's NXT, but it's that vibe. And I think people forgot or didn't know that this is a thing that Finn can do. They are very used to babyface Finn or demon Finn, which both are excellent. But he hits on another plane when he's like this. And the entrance is good. The finger guns is great. The nastiness on his face. But it's like exuding this confidence and like ease with himself. And he's just ready to absolutely throw down. It's wonderful.
It's like when you watch the crowd, like there's even a difference to the way that he interacts with the crowd as this version of himself. Like, obviously, when he used to come out before, he does like the hand thing and, you know, all the crowd are all happy with him. It's like there's a difference in his entrance. Like, he comes out, he doesn't do that hand thing until he gets into the ring. And then there's this amazing shot that they always have of Balor, and it's just him and the sea of people behind him. And there were some specific shots yesterday which I was in awe of because the crowd were all with him. Every single person in that arena, like, they raised their hands at the same time, and like it was just a beautiful picture to be able to see, like, how different he can be when he's allowed to be him, when he's allowed that little bit more opportunity to work on his character. And you're right, like I found Finn Balor after, like, towards the end of him leaving New Japan. That's kind of my entrance into New Japan and entrance into the Elite and everything. And I remember hearing about this guy and seeing like interviews and the way that he just was. And that is that guy now. After that night at Backstage, when he was like, Prince is back, like, he has been that guy the whole time. And like, it's amazing because I think the one thing is, people always, you know, when he's the demon, it's like the question always used to be, oh, is he coming out as the demon or is he coming out as Finn Balor? Oh, well, he's going to lose either way. Oh. Now it's like, that doesn't matter. I remember in my watch along, people are like, oh, is he coming out as the demon? And I was like, no, he's coming out as Prince Devitt, yo. Like, that's what he's doing, yeah. He's not coming out. He doesn't need to come out as the demon. Prince Devitt is stronger than the demon. Like, and like, but it makes him like a real character now. And it gives those, like, even like last night's match, if he came out as the demon, he's winning. But if he comes out as Prince, like, even though you know he's going to win, there's that little bit of doubt in your mind again. Oh, maybe he won't do it this time. It's just it's beautiful. It's like, I love the rehab of Finn Balor, of just a very short time that he's been in NXT. He has, like, his whole career has been rehabbed, I feel, and like, Will can get him such a better way. Yeah. Yes,
absolutely right. And, you know, it's cool. It's cool to see Devitt a little bit in there. And he's an older, nastier NXT Prince. It's got a little bit of that flavor, but it's still a callback. And that's what I think is the most special part for those of us who loved him in New Japan. And then we get to kind of have that back, as I'm wearing a Bullet Club hat, obviously. You know, I love the guy. He's the inventor. But he's facing Johnny Wrestling, who, until later, was the babyface of the company. This guy. I'm going to get to you, Johnny. Anyway, so he's facing Johnny Wrestling. And you know that this is going to be great. The back and forth between them both was awesome. The crowd was like, didn't know who to cheer for. So like, you could, like, I even don't know who to cheer for. And I love Finn Balor so much. Like, I know I have to root for him, but I also love Johnny Wrestling. The stuff that he's able to do, nobody's like that. Nobody does it quite like Johnny Gargano does. And the pacing of this match, I thought was spectacular.
Yeah.
Like, spot on. So good. A++++. The whole thing. My favorite part, though, was the ending. As if you couldn't cement Finn as top dog right now, other than, of course, Adam Cole and Ciampa. He was nailing that cocky pin on Gargano at the end. And he put his hand right on his face.
Oh,
and he's pointing right down at him. Oh my God, it was so good.
You know what I loved about that was he won it, and then he just like he doesn't even wait to celebrate. He just starts shouting at him, and he's like basically like, "That's it, you're done. I beat you." And then as he's walking back, you can hear him. And he's like, "Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I'm done with all these people now. I'm ready for business. Who the hell wants me next?" Like I was like, "Oh shit!" Like he's beat Johnny Gargano decisively. He's then like, as you said, the cocky pin. He's rubbed his face in it. He's like, "I'll beat you. I'll beat you." And he didn't like. That's such an old school heel thing to do, but such a Balor thing to do as well. Such a Devitt thing to do. Like to come over like, "I beat you now. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, there's nothing you could do. I beat you. You are done. I am moving on." Like that's what I love about that. There wasn't like, let's continue this going, let's keep it going, and especially because the story running up to this was Gargano saying, "I'm gonna take you out because you shouldn't have done all this stuff," and it's a bit like, well, guess what? The bad guy wins. That's what I loved about it as well. It was that story where the villain wins and you're happy with it, like you're cool with it because you're like, well, but that's that shades of grey thing, isn't it? It's like, I like this because yes, he's a dick, but he's my dick, like, and it's like, I love it. Isn't it? Like that's what I love about it.
He's acting like a total bastard, but he's my bastard and I love him. He can do no wrong. What a great match. It just, I don't even know how you can talk about it other than please watch it if you haven't. I just feel like it furthers their story. It props Finn up so much, but it does a lot for Gargano, I think, too, even in his loss. And even though Finn is screaming at him like, "I'm done with you," I don't feel like it hurts Johnny really, like truly, in the end.
Yeah.
Because he's just one of those people in NXT, you know?
And with Johnny as well, I think part of what he is that he tries so hard and the crowd forgive him for a lot anyway. Right. Obviously, like Raw and stuff, but the crowd will forgive him and the crowd are always behind him. So the crowd are like, you know what? You lost, but you're still Johnny. You're still Johnny wrestling. It's cool. Don't worry about it. And I think that's, again, that shade of grey, but the special connection that certain people have with the crowd, Gargano has that every single day of the week.
Oh, all day and twice on Sunday. This was an excellent match. What a banger. It just kept going from here because then all of a sudden we see it's going to be the women's NXT championship match coming after this one. And I'm like, I need a second. Like, can the tag teams come out? I need to breathe. I need something to happen. I need some shenanigans to go on. I need a breath. We didn't get it. And we had Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. And before we talk about this match, I have to throw in some wrestling fashion here.
Okay.
We love our hashtag wrestling fashion.
Mm-hmm.
JPQ and I, we love it, love it, love it. And whenever Bianca Belair came out in that freaking robe, Black History in the making, and it's all over her gear, and it's that royal purple color, honey, and we are just in full celebration, and she looks spectacular. Every inch a superstar to the nines.
She looked like an African warrior. I've got some African blood in me, and it was insane. I remember the first time I saw her, I was like, she had the African jewelry, over her neck. Like she came out with that really great. She just looked amazing. And I remember thinking she looked like a Wakandan warrior. Like she came out and Black History Month all over her, all over her gear. Everywhere. It was literally everywhere. And a lot of people in the chat that were like, "Oh, does this mean that she's automatically going to win?" And I was like, no, because she's already won. Because she's gone out there and she's represented. And wherever you look at her, which is something that I think is really interesting at the moment, there seems to be a lot of focus on Naomi, yes. And being able to kind of fly that flag for African American and other minorities within the US. And I think that Bianca Belair last night, she did an amazing job at being that representation. Because my God, if I was a young African American, I would look up to her right now and I'd be like, my God, she can do it. I can do it. So before even the match started, yeah. And what an amazing number as well. God damn, I would love to wear any kind of robe in that kind of way. But
yes. I want to wear a robe just normally, just in my daily life. because hello, they're fashionable and wonderful, but she just
Obviously.
looked every inch a superstar. I really liked her for a long time, and I feel like she's kind of coming into her own now. They're giving her the space to be herself and to just, I mean, the stuff that she's been doing weekly on NXT, the acting ability that she throws in there, and the character work is absolutely stellar on 100% right there. But I just thought that she was just looked perfect.
Well,
absolutely perfect.
From the pre-show, and it's something that, like, obviously, like, we haven't mentioned the pre-show, but Mansoor was there. Mansoor was amazing, yeah he absolutely
was
amazing.
He was great.
Anytime Sam Roberts said anything, which I also loved, like Sam Roberts is on the mic and everyone's booing. The second Mansoor said, I don't agree with that, got a massive pop.
Yep.
And there was a point earlier in the night, which is, as you're saying, like giving Bianca space. Sam Roberts mentioned what he said last year. He was like, last year I said Bianca Belair wasn't ready, but no, she looks like she might be ready and stuff. And I was like, in a way, you can see the difference. Like, you can, giving him the tiniest bit of credit, you can see the difference of last year to now. Last year, she was there as well. I think last year, she was just trying to find her character. Athletically, she was 100% there. But this year, I was down for this match. This was one of the other matches I was really excited for, but I was just that little bit more excited for the street fight.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can hear it. And then this had a little bit of controversy behind it because were we going to see Charlotte Flair? What's going to go on here? What's up with this title right now? Because they're just pushing the Charlotte thing. And, Bianca was like, or Charlotte said to Bianca that Rhea's looking right past you to me. So it kind of gave us a little weird little taste in our mouth, I think, for a lot of people when this was coming on. Because it's like, okay, well, we have Charlotte. So, like, what's going on here? So obviously Rhea's going to retain. Are they going to include Bianca in this, though? Because, someone said something earlier, and I'm remiss because I didn't write it down. But they were talking about, is Bianca going to get, like, the Kofi thing and ride that Kofi train?
Oh.
Get that push like he did because he was accidentally put in because, of course, Mustafa Ali was hurt and got put into that spot and was like, rocket straight to the moon. And we got that amazing run of Kofi Mania, past Mania, a great championship run from him. So they were like, ooh, is Bianca getting that thing right now? Because it's not really so much accidental, like she got put in something like Kofi did, but she has showed out so much that people are riding that train. And like, yes, like we want to see her right now. So that one I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like with both of them, I think the thing about Rhea Ripley is in the space of not even a year, because we say a year, but it's not been a year, it's been less than that. In the space of about 7 months, 6 months, she has gone from not being an afterthought, but definitely not being the person that you would put a company on, put a championship on, to in the space of about 5 months after War Games and all that. She's a star. Like, it's automatic. She doesn't need the title. Bianca Belair, I think, is a star. Like, she doesn't, but I feel, needs the title because she's been there for so long. Because with Rhea Ripley, she's had that really quick. She's young. She's had that quick, that quick stuff. With Bianca Belair, it feels like she needed to do it, and I think that it would be very I kind of saw what would maybe happen at WrestleMania be almost like a 6-pack challenge, possibly. Like, it would be really interesting to have, say, Rhea Ripley in there, have like Bianca Belair in there, have Charlotte in there, put Baszler in there, put Asuka in there, like make it like a big, like, it's going to maybe have those kind of memories of the big battle royals, but if you did it right, you could get them all over, because this year I think is the year that they're pushing NXT as hard as they can, and it would be really interesting to have all these different people with different stories going on and different specifics just all coming to a head. And very similar to what Volta said, I don't care if everyone's fighting for your brand. I don't care about that. I'm fighting for Imperium. And that would be really interesting to see those few people in there, like the Rhea Ripleys of the world, who might say, I want to do this on my own. like the Shayna Baszlers of the world, would be like, I don't want to work with the rest of my team. I thought that would have been quite a nice, interesting dynamic. But obviously after this match, we know that that's going to change. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can be done with this. And if anything, I like the fact that the NXT guys and girls are getting that chance to show what they can do. Like, actually show it.
I'm happy as well. I think the NXT women's division is something that should be absolutely celebrated. It's one of, if not the strongest female roster out there right now on cable, television. It's just stacked all the way. I think they have so much potential. Even in the girls that are green, I think there's a lot that they can do to really create future stars. That's what I love so much about NXT. This match I thought was good. I liked about 75% of it. I feel like the same with her match, Rhea's match with Toni Storm. I liked about 3/4. And then there's just some about it that's just not quite right.
Yeah, like with the Rhea Ripley's Toni Storm thing, maybe it's her age. You know what? Maybe it is, because she does these things like Rhea, which are like, it's like she's making memes, like with that thing I was talking about with the Dark Order thing. It's like she's having fun herself, and there's a few people that might get it. So like during the Toni Storm match, like she spanked Toni Storm, and then everyone, like the internet went, oh, and like everyone did it. And I remember I was like, you only did that because you knew what would happen. Like, I am 100% sure, but very similar to like the Mickie James Trish Stratus thing. It's like, in the moment, it's fine, but sometimes those things don't always work out. So like in this match, I liked a lot of it, but I think a similar situation. I felt, number one, it was too short.
Yes, like, I thought that too.
It was just like over. Like, I remember especially like getting settled in, because obviously we just had some really big matches, and I'm settling in. They have that thing where they start the match and they dim the light. I love that. I love that so much.
So good.
They dim the lights and then they just spotlight on each of them. It's something that I saw AEW do, and then they picked it up. But it's great, and like it just gives it. And I was like, oh my god, and I'm like down for it, and then pretty much turned around again, and I was like, oh, like, again, makes sense in the grand scheme for that segment, but for everything that had been put into it, for everything that had been said about it, it didn't feel like the match it should have been. I think that's what it is. I think that's what, but again, it's because Rhea's still so young, so to her, maybe we're looking at some of these matches and going, oh my god, and she's just like, oh, it's another Tuesday, like.
Could be. It could be. Yeah, I think you hit that on the nose there. It just wasn't quite what I was expecting. It was a little bit of you know what it was? It was the last quarter of the match. That's what I think I had the most problem with. I just didn't really like how it was being run. The pacing fell off towards the end of it. The lackluster finish, even though she did get her, it didn't feel right. And then, of course, inevitably, the other queen, makes her entrance.
Like I said, I didn't see you on NXT yesterday.
Yes, I wasn't there, sadly. The other queen showed up, looking like $1 million. By the way, that top was. Hello, good morning. But it seems, well, she accepts, of course, Rhea's challenge officially now that the match is over, which she kind of alluded to on NXT. Like, I'm not going to make a decision because it couldn't even be you. What if it's Bianca? So I'm not going to say anything until it's over, right?
Which I thought was good.
Which I thought was good. Okay, cool. Then she accepts her challenge. She lays her out. And then she goes to leave. And she turns around and grabs Bianca, throws her into the stairs, and I'm like, so we're leaving the door open for a triple threat at Mania is what we're doing here. We're leaving the door open. We're not saying that it's happening, but we're not saying it's happening either. I'm like, okay. So right now we're establishing it's Charlotte versus Rhea. Would you be shocked if it turned into a triple threat? Do you want a triple threat?
So I wanted a triple threat, which was all the champions face off against each other.
Ooh,
again,
fun.
I thought it'd be nice because obviously last year Ronda Rousey was that third part. What if this year that third part was NXT?
Yes.
And it was Rhea? I thought that would be a really interesting match to have Rhea go up against Becky, to go up against Charlotte, and what you're then kind of looking at is that look to the past, look to the future in the same kind of match. You're looking at someone that could, the promos along the way are like, you left NXT, why would you come back now? Who do you think you are? You might be the man, but you're not the man. Here, I'm the man. Stuff like that. Like, and within a story, I thought that would all flow. And on the run up to Mania, that could be quite cool. I'd love it to be a triple threat though with Bianca Belair, because I think that she's grown so much in this year that she almost deserves it. And like, no one really ever deserves anything, but I feel like she deserves it because she's on that kind of, Rhea Ripley is not, whatever happens for the next year over the summertime, they can have that feud over summer. She is not going to drop down now. She is put herself in the mind of every single wrestling fan. Like, we know who she is. Bianca hasn't, I don't think, just yet. And a title victory, especially at Mania, would really help that. And they could probably garner some of that Kofi kind of luck that happened last year as well. I would love it to be a triple threat, though, between Rhea Ripley, Charlotte, and Bianca Belair. Because, again, it would be different. Or the last one that I had was some kind of, like, not a gauntlet match, but matches throughout the night. So you'd have like a match at the beginning of the night, Charlotte v someone, and then you just keep rolling to the top. Kind of like what they did at Mania with Daniel Bryan. Yeah. So those are the kind of places, but I would really just like, because I don't, even though it looks like it could be interesting, I don't think Charlotte versus Rhea would be that good of a match yet. And I think that's my major issue, is because Charlotte can't lose at Mania, I would have assumed. There's no third person to take the fall, so there's only one inevitable outcome. It would be good for NXT in the short term. You got Charlotte Flair there as champ, and but would it just turn into that Mania, that Raw after Mania when Charlotte Flair came out and the crowd just went, nah, I don't like you, and then she went, oh no, but I'm the champion? Like, would it just turn into that?
It's tough. It's tough to say, because I think a lot of this is the AEW effect, trying to get more eyes on NXT. They are pushing it, like you mentioned, really hardcore, as they should. I think it's established itself and doesn't need to establish itself anymore as a viable third brand. I don't think you go down to NXT. I think you just make a lateral move. That's just my personal thoughts on it. And I think that putting Charlotte there as some star power would get people that watch Raw and SmackDown to tune in, potentially to watch her on NXT and see what she's up to. It could cause other fans to tune in as well. And, if you're looking as a business, right, and you're checking into your ratings, you want to win a certain demographic and you're not getting it right now. Charlotte Flair could be a way to do that. So business-wise, I can see what they're doing, and it's potential that she'll end up with that title. But I think the better match is the actual triple threat, because like you, I agree that I'm not ready, and I don't think they're ready for Rhea versus Charlotte one-on-one yet. I think it could happen eventually, and it should happen. I just don't think it's right now. And I think adding in Belair with what she has to offer character-wise and her chemistry and her athletic ability with those two, I think has the potential to completely show out. Plus, you can easily justify it, not only because Charlotte attacked her, but because she eliminated her in the Rumble. So she has, there's callbacks and there's ways to make it happen. Plus, she did lose clean to Rhea, but it doesn't mean that she can't be in that Mania picture. So I'm kind of hoping that's where we go.
Well, again, speculation-wise, you could always just have like the classic, which is you have Rhea go up against Bianca Belair, or you have, say, Bianca Belair go up against Charlotte. Yeah, for this is going to be the person that faces me at Mania. Screwy finish. Oh, they both won. Oh, well, I guess no one lost. So I guess this is now a triple threat. Like,
that's true.
I would absolutely call back to what you're saying, like with the Rumble and everything, because there is that. What I like about NXT now, and it's something that I've loved about AEW for so long, is the attention to detail when it comes to storyline work. So sometimes you can watch, like, if you're paying enough attention, you can see the video package being built up. Like, you can see it happening, and you're like, oh, okay. So now you can see that you can hear the promo being built right now. Yeah, and like, no, I'd be definitely down for that. Like,
I'd be so down for it.
Oh my god. But yeah, just a short match. But I like what they're doing with NXT. I like what they're doing with NXT with the women's division.
Me too. I'm very happy about it. And that leads us into our second to last match, which was for the tag team championships, of course, with Undisputed Era's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish versus the newly minted, successful, crowd favorite Broserweights, Matt Riddle versus Pete Dunne. Now, I love tag team wrestling. WWE generally disappoints me with tag teams, especially on the red and blue brands. NXT doesn't disappoint me as much, so that's good. However, I normally have a big thing about makeshift tag teams. I don't like when they do that often. Mm-hmm. What I think is different about the Broserweights is that they became a cohesive unit. They started getting gear, color schemes, building those promos together. The video packages that they created were hysterical. Mm-hmm. And the best part about it is sometimes when you put two people together out of nowhere, it becomes a success story.
Yep.
They are the total opposite of each other in terms of personality, look, feel, but they have very interesting fight styles. We have the MMA with Riddle. You have traditional British, like, gonna mess you up, technical wrestling style. I'm gonna break your body parts, and you're gonna enjoy it, I guess. And that's just it. And you foil that against the Undisputed Era, who has been running roughshod over NXT for the longest, and they're excellent. What a match we got. This was a great tag team match. So much fun. Lots of stories. Shenanigans, but like not too much shenanigans in terms of like, in and out of the ring and moving around and all these parts. But it wasn't like run-ins and craziness. It just was these two teams going at it. I absolutely love this tag match. Finish was great. They gave the belts to the Broserweights.
I know.
And I'm happy about it. And I love Undisputed Era.
Again, this is one of my predictions, yeah. The second I saw those guys together, so like Pete Dunne's from Birmingham, yeah. I am also from Birmingham, so he is, and he lives somewhere. I don't know where he actually lives. I've not been to his house, but he's like, I know the area that he's come from, so like it's really interesting to see him with Matt Riddle because I know people like Matt Riddle from his area, so it's probably not that big of a stretch for him to have to act. But what I love about it is that they are having so much goddamn fun. Like, I remember watching it and I was like, just the video packages beforehand, and I thought, even if they don't win the titles, they've already won our hearts. And like they're, as you said, they're a tag team that came out of nowhere, like absolutely out of nowhere, and on paper they would not work. On paper, they're too dissimilar, but the second that we saw that promo from the NXT, I think was it the last NXT TakeOver when Pete Dunne went, "Oh, I don't want to be blunt," and then Matt Riddle went, "Ah!" Like I remember seeing that exact second. I was like, "These guys are gonna kill it," and everything that they've done from that point on, the fact that they have a golf cart that has smoke that comes out the back, yeah, like even the logo, like everything about it, like. The one thing that I'm not totally down for is the Bobby Fish thing, but that's mainly because I'm not that good at tongue twisters. But isn't like how many fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish?
There you go.
Like, yeah, I got it once. But what I loved was they tried to put that up on the screen. Like no one could do it. Like it was just a bit of a weird thing. I like that it's coming in, and I like that they have that crowd interaction. But just having the little bouncing ball at the bottom, I didn't know if that was for our benefit or just because no one could understand Matt Riddle, and they were just like,
both, probably.
Yeah. But other than that, I freaking loved this match. Those guys work so well together. Just like. And like, because you forget, don't you, sometimes that Matt Riddle is actually quite a technical wrestler. So like between the two of them, there was a scene when they both went for There was a position. I think they both went for submission, and they were both looking at each other, and then Matt Riddle like just went and kicked, I think, Kyle O'Reilly in the face. Like he got up, he just kicked him in the face to break up, and I was like, yeah, that's smart actually. Like there were just so many spots in the match, and it also, the big thing is, well, I guess this goes against everybody saying that Matt Riddle's in trouble, because why would you, if you're in that much trouble, you don't win the Dusty Cup that they've had to pay extra money to be able to get the rights to, and the tag team titles at a takeover, and have those video packages produced, which I think is probably like it's the most attitude airy thing that we've seen from NXT for so long.
Yes.
But I watched there's this podcast called Mid South Memories, and he's watching Mid South at the moment, and those kind of video packages are like a really old holdover from Mid South, and I love them so much. It's like, how we get to the arena, let's spend the next week. How did you get the golf cart here? Creative. They said like creative literacy or something. He said something like ridiculous, like, I'm not going to explain it, just deal. And I was like, again, that's what I'm here for. But yeah, the actual match, great finish. I'm really happy that they're tag champs.
Me too.
And I think that they can do so. Like, I remember trying to look at it to the future, and I was like, well, I guess they've won the tag titles now. Now let's wait for the inevitable breakup at, like, say, the next takeover. I don't think so. I think that they could take this the whole way. Because I remember talking about Matt Riddle and saying, how do you get Matt Riddle over? Like, how do you actually get Matt Riddle over so that Vince would approve? I think that's more. Yeah, it's not getting him over. It's how do Vince approve? Vince looks at the one guy that Triple H has put all of his faith in, Pete Dunne, and gone, okay, I've seen that he's a proven commodity, and you're going to team him up with Matt Riddle. All right, Triple H. All right, Hunter. He probably calls him Hunter. Probably calls him Paul, actually. Hey, Paulie. Now, he probably calls him Bobber, doesn't he? Hey, Bobber. So, so what do you think? What do you think of this? And he's like, Pops, I told you it'd be fine. Actually, I don't know where we're going with this, but yes. So yeah, I think that Matt Riddle, this is his way to get over, and Pete Dunne as well. Like, they both benefit so much from this, and if we are not seeing like Broserweight like gear everywhere in the next few months over NXT, I would be very, very surprised. Like, very surprised.
I think so too. I think it's going to continue on. I think they're going to continue to just be hilarious, and people are just going to love it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the New Day, in a way. Like, not the same wrestling, but like the gimmick. So when they came out originally, people were like, what the hell is this? Like, I just remember it so distinctly. And then all of a sudden, boom. Everybody was in, buying gears, bootios, unicorn horns to put on your head, a trombone. Like, there's just stuff that I feel like they, Riddle and Dunn, can do that's going to have a similar effect. Because at first, I remember seeing them team up, and I'm like, that's going to be a hard no for me. And then all of a sudden, they wrestled, and I was like, going to retract that, Queen? Okay, we were wrong. It's okay. We'll be wrong again. But that's big wrong on that. And I'm really actually happy that I was so wrong, and that we're getting this fun. NXT has so much great wrestling, but it's nice to see them have this little comedy segment going on as well.
I like that they're just calling them like Bill and Ted. I love that we literally have like a little like road trip stoner comedy happening in the middle of this, like in all of the shows, and that's the kind of thing that goes viral. That's the kind of thing that brings that crossover appeal in. And you know how like everyone was like, and a lot of people still are poo-pooing the whole Lana like Lashley situation. End of the day, it brought in viewers, massive amount of mainstream popularity. If they could get those two guys to have a very similar kind of feel, that would do really well. And I think that, you know, like there's definitely room for them to exist. And you need to, like, especially on a show like the one that we just saw, it was very intense the whole way through.
Sure.
Like, they will definitely shine because they'll be the comic relief every single time, but the comic relief that can back it up, which is very, very rare. Very rare.
And what's better than that? I can only think of one thing, and that is this championship match, Val. The NXT championship match. He's back. finally back to try and reclaim Goldie, Tommaso Ciampa, the Sicilian psychopath, versus Adam Cole, baby, for the title, honey. Let me tell you, I was devastated when Ciampa got hurt. He is my favorite in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have several favorites, but like especially when he was a heel. Ooh, that was just life for me. I really just was so much behind him. And then he was, out, and here we are. Now he's back. And they went through. I was invested in all these matches, especially Keith Lee's. But like, I was yelling at my Twitter keyboard, going, "Come on!" Talking to people, texting, like, "What's going on with this match right now?" Absolute madness. So many near falls. So much craziness. A little bit of shenanigans, obviously, at the end. But then you double the shenanigans because you have Undisputed, and then Johnny Gargano comes out, which we'll get to. But the match itself, I thought, was absolutely wild. When Adam Cole powerbombed him into the announcer's station, I honestly thought that he broke his neck for real.
Mm.
And I was like holding my breath the whole time until we saw the replay, and I'm like, okay, his hands were there. All right, good. It looked so gnarly, but that wasn't the only spot that looked that bad either.
Oh my god, yeah, like the whole of this match, every one of those, is it Ikarushi, the move that Adam Cole does when he just throws them on the back of their neck, like head first, where he just flicks on Ikarushi. Like every time, like the whole match was like, how do we make it look like someone has broken their neck more than Kota Ibushi has during a Kota Ibushi match? And like they just kept going, and it's like there was a point when I think Tommaso Ciampa tried to powerbomb Adam Cole through the announce table, and he just slid off. Yep. And I was like, oh my god, he hit him hard though. He hit him really hard, and then he just went for it again. And there was just so much in this match. All of those shots to the back, like all the shots to the back of his spine as well. Like, every single little thing that he did at Ikagoroshi on the freaking apron, and that is the hardest part of the ring. And like he did it on the apron, and like just but yeah, he just everywhere. Yeah, like he was just, oh my god. And I was like, what was really impressive about this, and I think I have to give both men absolute credit and everyone in the back that was producing the match, was like, I watched the match and we got to like, I think it was 2:58 here, so that would have been like 2 minutes left on the show. That's when that near fall happened, one that, and I was like, huh? I was like, huh? No. And like the Undisputed Era hadn't even come out yet, like, which I thought so good, like, because the match could have ended right there, and then we were like, okay. And I was like, oh no, it's still going. And then we had like the ref bump, and then obviously Johnny, but like the Johnny thing, and I remember talking about it, I was like, oh well, I guess one guy may be able to hold gold tonight, and I guess that's the whole point. It's this whole Shades of Grey thing, isn't it? Like Johnny Gargano. No. Yeah, but like I love, like what I really love about Gargano and Ciampa and their relationship is that it's like a real relationship. Like no one's ever in the right, truly. No one's ever in the wrong, truly. They've both done things to screw each other over. They've both done things to help each other. They, like when DIY came back as part of Worlds Collide, I was like, oh, are they going to team up again for some reason? Yeah, I was like, well, that's strange. But they did, and then they fought together, and then everything was cool. But then, like, if we've forgotten about what happened before, then in any other company or any promotion, you might go, oh, they're friends now, everything's cool. But then you look at this and you go, oh no, because Gargano never forgot. Gargano never actually forgot. So again, it's like, oh my god, why did you do that to him? But good on you. Like at the same time, I'm like, it's so conflicting. Like just watching that match, but seeing it and just seeing the look on Ciampa's face, when he's like, oh, you're here to help me. And then I was like, Oh, and like he took a title away. And I thought, oh, maybe because even that moment as well, I was like, he's taking the title away. Maybe he's going to be like, no, Tommaso, no, Ciampa, not like this. You got to do it right. And then back, I was like, oh, damn it, that bastard. But yeah, really, really good match, and it just goes to show. Like, I look at these two guys, and like especially at that fairy tale ending when there was a 10 count because everyone was knocked out. Like, what I really, really like, I'm looking, and every time I look at it, it's like it's looking at Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
It's just looking at those two guys, just having it, and like just having that kind of match. Those two guys could put that match on anywhere. It's a main event, and like it was just, it's just really special sometimes to see like how far the business has come, and to see like that these two guys who would never in a million years, even 5 years ago, be anywhere near the top spot.
Sure.
Like, they've now got a brand on their shoulders, and we were like, the crowd was so violent for it and rabid for it, and like even Twitter, like the second it happened, like Gargano's name was trending. They're like, we do not forget. Like, I've never seen people so emotionally invested in a show and in a match as that match, and that just goes to show how good NXT can be, really, and how much crap we give the WWE generally. The takeovers have always been fantastic. I don't think I've ever watched a takeover where I've been bored or I've been like, meh. Like, I'll there'd been a few maybe mehs, but then it would be like meh overall. But oh my god, did you check that one match out? Because that was amazing. And this was one of those matches. What a way to like continue the story as well with like Gargano and Ciampa. Like, I hope they never go to the main roster. Well, I know they never go to one of the other rosters, because this story needs to just continue. This is our triple, like this is our Kevin Owens and I can't remember his name. I was going to say Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Sammy. This is that, isn't it? This could happen everywhere. This could continue from wherever they go, and I'm here for every single second of it, and I can't wait for Tommaso Ciampa to be the sympathetic babyface on Wednesday, to actually be a sympathetic babyface, because we will be. Yeah, really sad, but fun.
Yeah, but sad but fun. 2020 is about to be absolutely crazy. It already is off to a crazy start, but this is, what's interesting is it looked like they were going to move away from them. The storyline between them on NXT, but they're looking like they're writing this next chapter. And to be honest, I think it's needed. I know this is, people sometimes are like, nah, I think that we need to leave it alone. But I think this next, and I think what will be the final, at least NXT chapter of their story, I think is necessary. The injuries and the way that it ended originally left something to be desired. So the last match to end the NXT version of this feud, I think, is what they're going to work for. And what could be more special than that? It has given us, over the past couple of years, some of the best heel work, storyline, investment that a lot of us long for in WWE, and we get it with them in NXT here. And that's not to take anything away from Adam Cole. Adam Cole had the most meteoric, crazy 2019, other than like Will Ospreay. So it's for me, Adam Cole is every inch a superstar, and he's got big things for him as well. But I just think that the Ciampa Johnny storyline, it kind of supersedes everything else. It doesn't need a title. It doesn't need anything, because it's, to steal from Disney, it's a tale as old as time. When you have this kind of stuff, it's good. People want that. People are invested in that. And, it feels like, you're saying Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. It also, in a way, feels like Stone Cold Rock.
Yes.
It's got that vibe. And I think that's why a lot of people can identify with this feud and want to see more. Because, like, when did we ever really complain about Stone Cold versus The Rock, ever? I don't really think that I did.
No, I don't.
Not that I can remember.
I don't think I ever did actually either. Yeah. No, like, and you're right. Like, you're so right. That is like, it's just sometimes there are certain things within wrestling, like, you know, like brothers fighting, like sisters fighting, like families, you know, like those very very stable stories that, you know, tells all those time. And these two friends that have been through it together and gone through it, and then, you know, gone off on their own ways, been injured and done this and done that, and there's so much attention to the detail within their family. Like, obviously Candice LeRae was involved. That first time that there was a meta commentary on professional wrestling where Tommaso Ciampa's ending, the little things coming up, the little logo, and he just goes, nah, you know what, screw it, that logo don't mean anything, we're on the network now, we can just keep going. That, you know, there's so many things that they've done which have been absolutely just mind-blowing. And I love the fact that they've gone from ripping on Bobby Roode in the bathroom to this. Like, it's just such a great story. I can't wait for their DVDs when they come out. You know, like their Blu-ray DVDs, their documentaries, or by the time that theirs will come out, they'll probably be hologram cubes.
Probably.
Can't wait for their hologram cubes to come out on the neural network. I can't wait for that, the WWE neural network. But like, it's just amazing, and like, it capped off a great night. It capped off an absolutely fantastic show.
It certainly did.
Left with questions.
Betrayal and all, undisputed, united at the end, even though they lost the gold. Some of it, not all of it. They still have their leader as a champion. He is NXT. And it makes you really excited for Wednesday. Makes you really excited for their TakeOver Mania weekend. Stuff is going to be popping off in NXT, and I'm really hoping that people get excited for it and tune in. I love AEW so very, very much. I always watch it every single Wednesday. I'm invested, but NXT is other than New Japan and GCW, my favorite thing. My favorite thing. There's just so much to love. And this takeover, I think, showcased a lot of what it has to offer. And as you said earlier at the very beginning with Keith Lee and Dijakovic, this could be something that you could show somebody to make them want to tune in. And you could really show them any of these that we watched last night, when by the time we're recording, you know, Wednesday, but the last night in the pay-per-view, you could show that to anybody, and I think you'd make fans. They'd at least have somebody that they would connect with. And that's the beauty of NXT.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it was a wonderful pay-per-view, a great takeover, not surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if this turned out to be in people's top 5 list of favorite takeovers, just for the amount that we got to see here and the fun that was had. But really, I want to thank you so much for coming on to talk with me, sharing this awesome chat about NXT TakeOver Portland. And I'm really excited that we finally got to chat and work together. I think you're awesome. I think you're one of the coolest out there, and if people don't listen to you, they should. Your watch-alongs are awesome. Your content, you're super creative, and I would love you to let everybody know where they can hang out with Fowl and see what you got going on.
Thanks, Queen. We've been trying to get this together for a while, but thank you so much for finding the time for me as well. So you can find me.
Fowl Original can be found at link.tree/Fowl Original. You can also find him on youtube.com/Fowl Original Wrestling, where he watches wrestling every watch along and stuff. And then every Wednesday and Sunday at about 8 p.m. GMT. You can also check out fowloriginal.com, where loads of that stuff is available to see. And also, of course, on Twitter at Fowl_original.
Please do, people. I'm sure you know him already, but if you don't, you're welcome, because you're going to be really excited about following him. So please do so. Fowl, thanks so much again. It was an absolute treat. And as always, have a great rest of your day, and please be kind to one another.